Welcome to the Black Hat India podcast series. Today we have with us Swati from Frost and Sullivan, who will be moderating an interesting discussion with two of our very experienced review board members from Black Hat India. Please give it up for our moderator, Swati Arunaa.
Thank you, Ayush. Hi, I am Swati, Principal Consultant, ICT Practice at Frost& Sullivan. Welcome to today's discussion on the growing challenges of AI-enabled fraud and the future of digital trust. With over a billion internet users and as one of world's largest digital payment ecosystems, technology has become deeply embedded in our daily lives. Unfortunately, cybercrime is evolving just as quickly. Fraudsters are leveraging QR codes, AI powered tools such as deepfakes, voice cloning, and synthetic identities to execute scams at speed and at scale. At the same time, cybersecurity practitioners, enterprises, and policymakers are grappling with new questions around building trust in an increasingly AI driven world. To help us unpack these challenges, we are joined by two distinguished guests. Dr. Sapna V M, Associate Professor, PES University, Bangalore, and Season Cherian, Head of Security R&D, Traboda Cyber Labs. A very warm welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Sapna, I see that there is a lot of skills and talent shortage and also capability gaps in cybersecurity. How should academia evolve to prepare the next generation of professionals in an AI world?
Yeah, so I personally feel it's just not only one stakeholder should get involved in order to solve this very important challenge that we are facing today. Academia plays a very important role. It's like basically necessary to bridge the gap between academia and industry, and that's possible only when we academians or as a part of teaching learning course we have to have a kind of impactful protocol. So I personally believe every academia should follow some particular protocol, and it's not like the same traditional approach that we used to take in the teaching field about just looking into networks, protocols, tools, systems, but it should be beyond that. Kind of more practical skills are required to ensure students are gaining knowledge towards the challenges they can face in future later. So there should be some kind of understanding protocol that has to happen. We as academicians do have some kind of protocol. We cannot completely rule out the theoretical aspects, which is must. It's a fundamental for any student to understand and then actually start implementing. We take something called as a job problem, which is like jackfruit, orange, banana problem, where banana we say it's like first understanding very few basic concepts and try to solve a small tasks, then extend it to a next level as a orange problem where the complexity of the problem increases, and then finally take up a jackfruit problem, which we now try to bring not only with respect to examination, it could be a hackathon, it could be a CTF. So all this versatility will also kind of bring a good approach for the students to look into this particular field. So that's one go which every academician or academia can think of. Second is like there's a need of interdisciplinary approach. It's just not one branch, one field. Everything has to be collated well so that the challenges can be understood first efficiently and then put your hands to solve all of them. Then third is practical thinking, which I said is must. Try to understand real time cases, real world examples, industry. It could be any field. It could be bio industry. It could be pharma. It could be software, hardware, which is again a keen thing. So they do have problems, challenges, which could be shared in an open source media. Why can't take them as one go and understand and try implementing, solve? So practical aspect is must. Third, as we are speaking about AI as one of the important component, it's not just AI understanding is key concept in teaching, but AI has to be looked in three different angles, what I feel with respect to academia, where we focus on three U's of AI. One U would be understanding AI concept. There's so much in AI. It is AI, ML model, agents, agentic AI, but not everything will go well in the cybersecurity field. How we can pull in. So understanding basic concepts of AI is important. Second would be understanding AI with the attack space. AI is being used by criminals, fraudsters as well. So attack vector space, AI crimes has to be understood well, and then it comes to usage of AI, where how AI can be really pulled in solving or understanding the cases. So that makes important and impact for the students to go further, because they are the next future. So they are focused on training, their focus on building in a better way has to start from academia, is my understanding. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Sapna. So, Dr. Sapna covered the academic approach to it, right? So, despite all the training that students are receiving, right, fraudsters can execute scams within an hour and sometimes in minutes. Recently in news, we saw that the end-to-end scam execution can happen around 30 minutes or so. So, if that's the case, are enterprises, banks, law enforcement agencies, are they structurally equipped to respond at such speed, or are they still operating at human speed processes?
So honestly, I have to say no. It's still humanly slow with regards to whether you will get the money back. But getting the alert, getting the card blocked, everything is real fast nowadays. We have to give the credit due where it's started. The banks got really fast. The government agent systems like I4C systems have the capability to stop at real-time transactions. But the issue is that most of the citizens are not aware of what the step that needs to be taken. For example, recently one of my family members called me and told me that somebody has taken money out of their card. So basically, they made an international travel, but when they returned, they didn't turn off the international payment. So for making an international transfer, you don't need an OTP. So anyway, the first transaction went, but the bank called, bank disabled the card. Everything happened at 3 a.m. in the night, but the bank took the responsibility. But the process to retrieve that money was really hectic. So they had to file a complaint through the web portal. So it has been made really simple, but it's not commonly known to the public. So you can file a complaint through the website, and then you have to register whichever bank. They have a forum where you can let them know, and they will also file a complaint. And another process that they asked us to create a case in your local police station onwards. And three of the investigation was going in three different directions. There was no combined information sharing. And just because we filed the case within 3 hours, the bank was responsible to hand over the money. But if exceeded 3 hours, then the percentage of amount that you will retrieve back is going to be way less. And even we take out last year's how much amount we lost from Indian ecosystem itself, it's a really huge amount. And it's like 96 percentage of the attacks that happened in a month will be reported in the first 30 days itself. But the amount that was able to retrieve was only 6 percentage. So there is a human involvement that is creating the delay. And as a policy maker, what we can recommend is that everybody should be able to assess the information parallelly. There should be a common playbook. So a single file should be able to dictate all the things, but I can understand there are challenges. Nowadays, the scams are not like they will retrieve the money to their account and then take out the money. It is like a multiple chain of accounts. So if I have an account in a particular bank, they will retrieve it to another bank, from there to another bank. And this process is tedious to track. And for that, the bank need to collaborate, the police need to collaborate, even the telecom service need to collaborate. It's difficult, but even I had a meeting with a personnel from MHA, and he told that they have made a huge advancement in this area and they are able to help Indian citizens a lot. But we are dealing with 1.4 billion citizens, and they are happy to take any support. So if anybody is listening to it, there is some government openly invites you guys as a volunteers to help out resolve this problem.
Oh, that's fantastic to note. So, Dr. Sapna, as Season mentioned, right, there's no information sharing. There's also different policies that apply to
Yes,
different
yes,
entities, and then, again, there are multitude of entities that are involved wherever
correct,
it comes
correct.
to any sort of fraud. So, if you were to design a national AI-driven anti-fraud playbook for India, what are the capabilities or policies that you would prioritize and why?
Uh, it's a need of an hour, as I said in the beginning. Very first thing is we have to create awareness among everyone, which is very much important. again, it depends on the crowd we are trying to address. It could be the infants, the young, and even the old crowd. So it's necessary to create a awareness that, again, with respect to academics, it can start creating awareness as one go. And the other thing is, we are all aware the fraudsters communicate faster. They are a step ahead when compared to the defenders or the practitioners' point of view. So why not come up with some unified fraud identification or fraud intelligence resource sharing system, where it could be any entity, take it as a bank or a BFSI industry, it could be practitioners and even the policy makers, the industry providers. So all of them can pull in and contribute to this particular platform, where they can communicate faster, understand what is happening in the era of AI. Even the prediction is very much in. So work on that angle to understand fraudster mindset or the attacks that can happen and respond faster. So I personally feel cybercrime is more of a ecosystem problem, so which has to be a ecosystem response, and that should be as fast as possible.
Ecosystem response resonates very strongly. And when even if we zoom in a bit, look specifically at enterprises, right? They have multiple cybersecurity tools, and they invest heavily to actually stay resilient, right? But season, despite all these investments, right, they're still prone to threats. So, in your experience, what does a cyber resilient organization look like, and how does it play out in, today's landscape where there's a lot of fraud and, AI associated things which are scaling so fast?
So the enterprises mainly take it's like a procurement thing for them. They takes all the expensive tools they can, they from multiple vendors. So if you go to an enterprise, you will see all the things that is required. You will see different socks from different vendors. All the things are there. But what lack is people who are not able to utilize it properly. So the training is there. The training is lacking a lot. So for example, once the SOC is added to the system, it is basically just for the sake of compliance. So businesses are not interested to properly configure it. Most of the SOCs, when I go for pen testing, is at the default state. It's not trained for their enterprise. The SOC has a capability to do the analysis, but you have to tell how their system works. So for them, they are not aware of what the normal state is. So they won't be able to detect an abnormal activity. So for example, just take an example of a child. So if it's your child, you know when he or she is behaving differently. Since just because you have been seeing him a lot or her a lot, and you know how this child behaves. And if you see an abnormality, you will be able to detect it. But enterprises have a generalized approach on how the system should look like, how the traffic should look like, and that is the stuff that they are missing out. And um, regarding the cure for it is like you can bring out exercises that can train the employees. You can do a cyber range exercises, teach them how to act when an emergency situation occurs. Uh, for example, usually when you provide a solution like a SOC, there will be a playbook coming with all the steps that needs to be taken, and they are only going to look into it when the event happened or the incident happened. And that's what is lacking behind. So you have to train your employees with real incidents. You have to let them know that you are going to get punched, and it's not about how hard you get punched, it's more like how hard you can get back to the track. So you should be able to make sure that attack will happen, and if it happen, you should be able to contain it. That's it.
That's fantastic. It's more like fire drills, right?
Yeah.
People employees don't take it seriously, but when it
Yes.
Yeah, it
happens,
has to happen.
you need to know what's happening, and that is very interesting. So, just like Dr. Sapna mentioned a couple of policies that she would want to recommend, right? What are some of the policies and approaches that you think industries should take if there's a anti-fraud playbook?
So they are doing all the things that's already, because every, even if it is taken, I'm not mentioning about India, but in UK or especially in EU, the compliance is really strong. So they have to take all the exercises, but still it's just for the sake of compliance. The cyber range exercises that I mentioned here is most probably outdated like 10 years back. it is not upgraded with the latest trend. So when an attacker is coming with an agentic power, you are not going to deal with the usual board that they have experienced before. It's like an army of foot soldiers coming into a single attack vector. So you can protect all your windows, but you cannot predict which window they are going to target. So dealing with this, you have to deploy your own security measures, but it's difficult, but at least it should be able to uh, they should be able to dictate it and do a proper investigation around it. So that should be really fast. So you have to utilize whatever they are utilizing it. So it's like adopt, evolve with the latest trends. Don't stick with the older things that you are continuously giving your employees every year.
Correct. So it's a continuous improvement process
Yeah.
that needs to be done. That's very interesting. So coming to the part, right, where India is seeing a lot of convergence around IT, OT, and IoT landscapes, and this also introduces a lot more vulnerability and new threats which didn't exist earlier. So, how can cybersecurity professionals be trained and so that these sort of threats, they can anticipate it, and two, how can they actually put a wall against it? So, Dr. Sapna, what do you think?
Yeah, so as we are all aware, this is a very quite promising field just now. So as Susan said, like keeping oneself updated is must in this particular field, because the cyber crime, the cyber security, both of them like can be considered as two sides of the same coin. Everyone, we as a defenders are using AI, criminals do also use AI. So how that can be challenging, and how one has to update the skills, because it is evolving very fast. The technology today might not be seen tomorrow itself. So thinking in a long run, upgradation is must. Just a few examples, we have a lightweight cryptography, the edge technologies. We speak a lot about LLMs, but then there are short language models which could be implemented that might all help in our IT, OT, and IoT scheme. So, keeping oneself prepared, because we are not sure at what time we will be a victim. So, preparing oneself, responding should be a concern and should be thought in that particular angle, as I personally feel.
Great. Season, what are your thoughts about it?
So when it comes to OT, just before the pandemic, it used to be in an air-gapped systems, and the attack has to happen through a physical interface, a physical person who has to interact with the devices. But during the pandemic, most of the services were made remote, and that created a lot of attacks. And even in USA, you can check about the pipeline attack that happened just because they gave a remote access to an employee's laptop, and he fall a victim for a phishing attack. And after that, it never went to the backstage. So vendors introduced new components. Now we have IIoTs, we have driver modules that are attached to the OT network. Previously, you cannot directly jump into, a attacker would not be easily able to get into the OT network. And now he has an attack vector of IoT, which is really simple to get attacked, and from that you are getting access to the OT network. And there are driver modules which give you support for wireless attacks. They have multiple wireless protocol in a single device, which will give more attack vectors to get into the OT. And previously, OT network was really complex to walk around. So if an attacker gets into that, it takes a hideous amount of time to figure out what all devices are out there, what all protocols being used, because OT protocols were a bit old and most of them are proprietary. But nowadays, an agent can fully map out the entire network architecture just by passively listening to it. And that makes the attack really fast. And once you target a particular component in an OT network, then it's really difficult for them to stop the process altogether. So suppose I'm a manufacturing plant, and if one of my PLCs is getting compromised, engineer has to make a decision whether should I pay the ransom and fix it, or cut down that PLC and shut down the plant for a week. And the recovery cost will be in millions. So usually they will end up as paying ransoms. So nowadays it's difficult, but the OT spectrum, it's like you cannot change the older devices in that OT infrastructure. You can only add more protection on top of it, and that's the thing about that.
Both of you had mentioned, agents can map out pretty fast the whole environment. There's a lack in training.
Yes.
There's also, a need for ecosystem response that needs to come together. So, what role should academia, cybersecurity community, technology providers, startups should do, so that we are able to create a stronger wall of defense? And also, are we collaborating enough across these ecosystems to be more cyber resilient?
So as your question itself has a kind of answer into it, it's like no one stakeholder will be able to solve the problem efficiently. Everyone need to be pulled in. There's a need of collaboration. Academia can come up with kind of young, fresh minds with proper training. Startups can come up with innovations. Providers can help in scaling. Then security providers can help in resource sharing, understanding. So there are so many other entities which need to be required to work together, kind of connect the dots and try to solve the challenges that the environment or as an ecosystem is facing. So there is a need. So there should be some way like where everyone can collaborate, understand the need of an hour, try to bring in their input, strong aspects like how challenges can be understood and can be taken forward to solve it in a more convenient, efficient with AI as a one of the strong inputs. But then there should be a clear understanding about law as well, which we think missed during the entire conversation. Law also need to be there. There should be some privacy security concerns to be considered. So there is a need of all firm to collate together and bring some constructive outcome.
Uh, what are your thoughts around it, Season?
So I have been working on this problem statement for a while. Uh, I have been
Fantastic.
part of the startup. I have been part of the academics, and it's lacking in India. I can understand that, but still it can be figured out. So how we resolved it was a university have the capability to do in-depth research on the topics that are not explored as much. You can do innovative approaches there, and you can also cultivate the next future generation. That's the main purpose. So they should not never be outdated. They should be capable of the new changes that we are experiencing right now. And when it comes to the startup, they won't be having the scale to do the in-depth research. What they can do is do experimentation with the result that the university is coming up, do fast prototyping, create out stuff, and things that the larger enterprises won't consider much. So they can come up with tools, they can come up with products that the enterprise won't bother to do so. And when it comes to the enterprise, what is expected for a student is they should be able to give out the resources that they are hiding for the sake of competitiveness. And even an attack happened, you have to wait till 3 to 4 months for an official report to be generated. But in a community, even like in Black Hat, there are people who are connecting, and it's not happening because we sign an official MOU or something. It's based upon trust. We meet people, we discuss what we worked on, they share what their experience is, they share their feedbacks, and that really help us to share what we know, and the students can benefit from that, enterprise employees can benefit from that, even for startup. So that community has to be the focus right now. I'm not expecting all the three institutions to collaborate, but at least we can bring up the community through Black Hat.
Right, and it's a clear work in progress, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be there. And you provided a perfect segue for me to move on to questions on Black Hat, right?
Yeah.
So, Suraj, what does Bangalore represent in terms of security and tech community that makes it ideal for the launch edition of Black Hat India?
So I was talking with the community over here, and they were really excited to hear that Black Hat is coming to India. So the previous option for most of them is to travel to Singapore, and most of the community members won't be able to travel. And right now they are really excited about the opportunity. And here you will find a lot of builder community, a lot of startups, and for builders, Black Hat is one of the best platforms. Especially since I'm talking about Arsenal, it's a platform where you can show what you built, and you will get real update. You will get more insight to the product that you haven't even thought of. And even the participants will be happy to explore your tools in their day-to-day activities. So it's a good opportunity, and Bangalore is one of the best places that we can launch it.
I agree on the Bangalore part.
Yeah.
But Dr. Sapna, what's your take on it?
Yeah, so as I have been telling in the entire conversation, cybersecurity challenges cannot be solved or cannot be addressed in isolation. So there is a need of everyone to come forward. So Black Hat happening in Bangalore is one good thing, being a Silicon city. So we have a blend of industries across the city. So everyone can participate. There are startups, as Season said, which could be a great one of the important components in the Black Hat to showcase their work. So student community, the young minds think much faster, think in a very different way how the problems can be solved. They can come up with the new ideas, new tools where they'll get a scope to present. So already developed, established companies can come in and try to look for the talent they're looking for to extend their abilities. So there are so many other important kind of connects which will happen in the platform of Black Hat, and more work can be seen there. So one is the tool session, which is really promising, where the students and the different community will have the interaction. They can exchange their ideas, exchange their views, their consents. So it could be addressed at point, on point, and can go further and grow in a bigger sense, scale and sense.
Great. So both of you mentioned Arsenal, right? So for listeners who will be attending Black Hat for the first time,
Yes.
what is Arsenal and what is its significance for Black Hat India? Dr. Sapna.
Yeah, Arsenal is something which is more connected with results oriented kind of approach. So, where the presenters will be presenting or showcasing their skills that have been gone into their work that they have done so far. It's like more of practical solution, we can say, where again it's not the one sided or one way approach. There will be multiple thoughts onto it. Why can't I solve problem A with this protocol? How would I get it better by implementing other more protocols? So it's always a kind of run through or a study kind of a thing. So that will definitely motivate the learners, the listeners, to understand the problem or the solution in a better way. So it will be promising for the presenters applying, like how they can improvise on their skills, how they can really connect with current trends that are happening, and all that stuff. It should go as a good platform, especially in Bangalore.
Ah, that's a fantastic summary. So, Season, what do you think Arsenal is?
So I can share my experience. So when I applied for Arsenal the first time, I was not at all confident. And I thought, should this product is worth to be presented in front of researchers who are really good. We are going to deal with the best in the world, and they are going to come here and they are going to listen to your pitch and your product. And whether is it a good thing? So anyway, I got the courage and I submitted it. And I didn't thought of what are the requirements, what should be the everything, and I didn't even expected a reply from the Black Hat. But what surprised me is that reviewers took the effort. They told me what you are missing out, how should you improvise it, and I had regular conversation with the reviewers. So what they told me first that whether this tool is useful and do you have something to show as a proof. So they asked me how your tool is different from what's out there. Is it going to be something that is going to make somebody's work much more easier? And other thing is, are you just going to create a wrapper around multiple tools and pitching it as a new thing? Or are you putting in your effort and finding some novelty that is missing in other open source projects? And then once that was figured out, the next thing was make it public. Share the GitHub link with them so they can experiment whether whatever works in your system and whatever you are claiming is real. And then if it's good, you can also put a video of the total working and you can add your presentation on top of it. And if it all goes good, then you will get an S and they will support you. And whatever you're missing, even technically if you're missing out something, they will help you throughout the process. And when you go for presenting, you will have the confidence to do the presentation. And Arsenal is a bit messy compared to the Arsenal briefing. You are not going to listen to somebody who is presenting on the stage. You are in the floor with the audience, and you are not going to pitch in, or you are not going to do a presentation. They are going to ask, "Show us this. Do an hands-on demo. I have some problem. Can this be resolved?" Everything is happening live time, and people will come in. They will ask you questions. They will ask you to show your code base, and you feel more energized to see that people are happy seeing your stuff, what you have built. At the same time, whatever is missing, they will help you out. I had a lot of help during my first time, and throughout the process, it has been always better. So reviewers put a lot of effort compared to other conferences in Black Hat. So if you're a student or an employee, and if you have something to showcase that you have built, that will make somebody's life easier, or make a problem solve, do submit to Arsenal.
Thank you, Season, for beautifully articulating the the whole process of submission. So, Dr. Sapna, that brings the question to you, right? How can someone increase their chances of acceptance?
It again depends on the kind of problem statement they're addressing. The very niche ones, the one which are currently need to be looked for, such problem statements will be considered first. Then there are like two set of submissions that can go. One could be the actual prototype students or anybody would be submitting. Other one could be a very niche idea. So depending on like what works faster, what will be helping the community or the anyone who is looking for the solution, that matters. And of course way the presentation is being done, how the submission is done, how the repository is being shared, like the reviewers can really run through and execute and see whether the expected outcome out is there. So all this is going to matter, but ultimately the idea is the first thing which I feel has to be looked into, because this particular platform is basically open to solve the new challenges. If anything is going to really give the solution, if not the full solution, a framework will also be benefited to the ecosystem.
Since you spoke about idea, Dr. Sapna, so is there a tool or a gap in the open source security ecosystem that you see?
Yes, there are bunch of them.
Okay, so what would you recommend? What would you
So
want to see in
so
Black Hat
it's
India?
like when we say a tool, it's nothing but the approach. So how the existing resources can be minted in, can be used, that matters, because there are so many tools. When we say the tools, they can be open source, they can be proprietary ones. Can we bridge the gap between the open source and proprietary? That really matters. And when we are seeing the submission in the platform like Black Hat, they will be exploring the possible open source solutions itself. Nothing actually goes from scratch. You have to build on the existing ones, use the AI technology, and come to a some kind of focused solution that can really go into the market. I feel like that's required.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, Season, what do you want to see?
So, for me personally, it's harder in the sense when I started my career, I had a mentor who was ready to share his personal fundings to support me with IoT or OT research. But whenever I travel to conferences, I see students asking pers- to me that how can they started with IoT security, OT security, and I had no clear answer. I cannot ask them to invest heavily like a university will support you with a lab. So after multiple sessions in Black Hat Arts, what I started was I was creating training kits for hardware and OT security. So I created downloadable IoT kits and downloadable OT kits, just like how we have downloadable softwares available. So anybody can download from the GitHub and they do it. And my personal goal is to make the components as cheap as possible. I'm not still that it's expensive, but somewhat it's getting improvement, and I need the community to collaborate more on this. Figure out whoever is a good PCB designer or a hardware engineer to cut down the cost so everybody can afford it.
Oh, that's great. So that sort of brings us to the end of the session, right? So, uh, thank you for such an insightful and engaging session. And it, to me, it seems like there is a lot of work to be done. But the good news is that we are also doing a lot of work.
Yes.
And that security is a continuous process. It cannot be that today we've done something and we are secure for the next couple of years.
Yes.
And it is beautiful to see that different ecosystem players like the academia and startups are coming together, and also bringing everybody in a single room with Black Hat India, and bringing the newer technologies, newer thinking in a way, which is very very important in this day and age. So yeah, your perspectives also have reminded us that it's not just about connecting people and systems, but Digital India is also about a safer, secure connectivity or connecting people and systems. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you, Swati. The call for briefings and call for tools is now open on our website, blackhat-india.com. Please do submit your work, and the review board members that you just heard from will read your submission. And if it's as good as you think it might be, you will land at the stage at Black Hat India this October. To the review board members, thank you for the time, for the candor, and for building something that this community has needed for a really long time. To everyone who's listening, we'll see you in Bangalore October 27th to 30th at Black Hat India. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Hat India podcast.